There's one habit, so common almost everyone does it weekly, that convinces people you can't be trusted. Not with money, with your word. And it's probably cost you more respect than anything else on this list. You just never got told. These are the habits that erode respect without anyone saying a word. And the last one is the one Confucius said separates a person of character from everyone else. Stay to the end, because you're doing at least 3 of these. Number 10. Ever help someone out, then bring it up twice the next day? That's the humble brag, and it's costing you more than you think. Confucius talked about this over 2,000 years ago. He said, stop worrying about being seen. Start worrying about whether there's anything worth seeing. Real virtue doesn't need a press release. Here's what it looks like now. Someone stays late at work, then make sure to mention it in the group chat the next morning. Or brings up how exhausting it was to help a friend move while they're still standing there. The second you announce the sacrifice, you've told everyone it wasn't really selfless. It was a transaction, and you just sent the invoice. So next time you catch yourself wanting to mention what you did for someone, just don't. Let it stay unspoken. That's the whole test. Bragging is loud. The next one happens in the middle of someone else's sentence. Number 9. You're mid-sentence and someone jumps in before you finish. That's the chronic interrupter. Confucius broke this down with surprising precision. He said there are 3 mistakes in conversation: speaking before it's your turn, staying silent when you should speak up, and speaking without ever reading the room. Most people only think about the first one. It's the most common and the most damaging. Picture a meeting. Someone's halfway through an idea and another person cuts in with their own point. Not because it was urgent, just because they thought of it first. Everyone else clocks it. Nobody says anything. The tell. If you're formulating your response while the other person is still talking, you're not listening. You're waiting. Fix it by finishing their sentence in your head before you start yours. Interrupting is obvious. This next one hides inside an apology. Number 8. You show up late, and before anyone even asks, you're already explaining why. Confucius taught that a person of character should be slow to speak, but quick to act. Notice the order. Not quick to explain the action, quick to do it. Most people have that backwards. Here's how it shows up. You miss a deadline, and instead of just delivering the work, you lead with the story. Traffic, a sick kid, a crashed laptop. Nobody asked for the story. You volunteered it, unprompted, before anyone even raised an eyebrow. Every time you do that, you're not covering yourself. You're confirming there's something to cover. Here's the test. Next time you're late or wrong, say nothing extra. Just fix it. Watch how differently people treat you. Excuses are what you say around others. The next habit is about who you are when there's no one left to explain yourself to. Number 7. Who you are when no one's checking is who you actually are. Confucius had a term for exactly this: how you carry yourself when there's 0 audience and 0 consequence. Real character isn't what you perform in front of people. It's what you default to alone. Here's where it gets exposed. Someone's polite and patient in the group text, then short and dismissive in a one-on-one message. Or generous when others are watching. A donation, a toast. Careless when it's just them and a waiter they'll never see again. People eventually catch the gap. A slip, a screenshot, a story from someone who saw the other version of you. And when they do, they don't just notice that one moment. They start wondering what else they might have missed. That contradiction shows up nowhere faster than in how you handle blame. Number 6. Something goes wrong, and your first sentence is about whose fault it wasn't. Confucius drew a sharp line here. He said a person of character examines themselves first when something fails. Someone without character looks for who else to blame. He treated this as one of the clearest tells of who a person really is. Watch how it plays out. A project falls apart, and instead of, "Here's what I missed," it's, "Well, if they'd sent the file on time." Technically true, maybe. But everyone in the room notices what you reached for first. The damage isn't just about that one mistake. The moment you deflect, people stop trusting your version of events. Not just this one, all of them going forward. Try this instead. Name your part before anyone asks you to. Blame shifting pushes people away. This next habit pulls them in a little too easily. Number 5. You agree with whoever you talk to last, and you don't even notice you're doing it. Confucius had a warning about this specific trait. He said polished words in a flattering manner rarely come from someone with real substance. He wasn't talking about liars. He was talking about people who bend their opinion to whoever's in front of them, just to keep the peace. Here's the pattern. In one conversation, you agree the plan is smart. In the next, with someone who hates the plan, you nod along with them too. Both people walk away thinking you're on their side. Neither actually knows what you think. It feels like kindness. It reads as unreliability. Because if your opinion moves with the room, nobody knows what you'd actually stand for when it counts. Next time, try picking one opinion and keeping it the same in every room you carry it into. Pleasing people is about how you talk. This next one shows up in what you're willing to leave unfinished. Number 4. You ship the fast version instead of the right version, and tell yourself it's basically the same thing. Confucius warned about this directly. He said if you're in a hurry to get somewhere, you'll never actually arrive. And if you chase small, quick wins, you'll never build anything great. He was describing exactly this instinct, choosing speed because it looks like progress. Here's what it looks like now. Someone rushes a report to hit a deadline, knowing it's thin, just to say it's done. Or skips the real conversation and sends a quick message instead because it's easier. People notice. Not right away, but over time, they stop trusting your fast version of anything because they've learned it's rarely your best version. Next time you feel the urge to rush something out, ask what the slower version would actually look like. Then do that one. Cutting corners hurts your work. This next one hurts something you can't see happening. Number 3. You're venting about someone to a friend, and your friend is quietly taking notes on how you talk about people. Confucius a line that basically works as a life rule. Don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. Most people apply that to actions. He meant it for words too, especially the ones said when the person isn't in the room. Here's the moment that gives it away. You're complaining about a coworker to another coworker, getting specific, maybe even enjoying it a little. The person listening laughs along. But somewhere in the back of their mind, they're thinking, what does this person say about me when I'm not here? That's the real cost. It's not that the gossip gets back to them. It's that the person you're talking to trusts you a little less right now. Gossip is a mouth problem. This next one is about what happens while your mouth is closed. Number 2. You're nodding, making eye contact, saying, and you haven't heard a word in the last 10 seconds because you're already planning what you'll say next. Confucius treated listening as a skill you could actually fail at, not a passive thing that just happens. He talked about the mistake of speaking without really taking in what the other person said first. Real attention, to him, was a form of respect you either paid or didn't. The giveaway? Someone finishes a thought, and the reply that comes back doesn't quite connect. It's slightly off, generic, like it could have been said to anyone. That gap is small. People feel it anyway. Next time someone's talking, Notice if you're actually absorbing their words or just waiting for your turn. Even great listeners lose respect if they can't do one last thing. The habit almost everybody on this list is guilty of, whether they know it or not. Number 1. Every person who's ever stopped trusting you can probably point to a moment your word didn't match your action. Confucius said something almost brutal about this. A person without trustworthiness, he said such a person couldn't function at all. Not wouldn't be well liked, couldn't function. To him, your word wasn't part of your character. It was your character. And here's why this one outranks everything else on this list. It's never the big broken promises that destroy respect. Those get explained away. It's the small ones. I'll call you back. I'll send it Friday. Said casually, broken casually, over and over, until the pattern becomes undeniable. Nobody confronts you about it. They just quietly stop believing your next, I promise, and start treating everything you say as optional. So ask yourself this. When you say something out loud, does it actually happen? That single answer is the difference between being liked and being trusted. Look back at all of these for a second. None of them were about being cruel. None were about being a bad person. Every single one was small. Forgivable, even if you only did it once. That's exactly the point Confucius was making, over and over in a dozen different ways. Character isn't built or destroyed in the big dramatic moments. It's built in the ones so small you forget anyone's watching. The interruption, the excuse, the broken small promise. And if you look closely, all 10 behaviors are really the same behavior, just wearing different outfits. A gap between what you say, or imply, or promise, and what you actually do. Close that gap, even slightly, and something interesting happens. You stop needing to ask for respect. You stop performing for it. It simply becomes something people can't help but give you. If you saw yourself in more than one of these, good. That's where it actually starts. Leave a comment with the one you're struggling with the most. And if this video added something to your day, a like and a subscribe genuinely helps. Until the next one.